Just to preface this, I am not rage quitting the game or anything like that. I'm still going to continue playing the game and enjoying it for the things I like about it, which is quite a lot to unpack. But when it really comes down to it, I just enjoy shooting bad guys, and the game has a satisfying enough medium to do just that, and not the medium in game. With that out the way, though, I think this patch leaves a lot of folks scratching their heads, mines included. I'm not going to list all the changes as you could just find that yourselves, but we essentially waited over a month for Embark Studio devs to tackle many of the pain points of the game balance for the game to still more or less be the same, with the only real noteworthy change you can feel in game being the whole nukes with sticking C4 to barrels and interactables. I guess stun gun too. That got a pretty considerable nerf, but you don't really see light and ranked, which is what I play, so C4 is basically my concern. You basically just throw these at players and get a multi kill. It's so brainless. Even after the nerf, though, nukes are still very strong and are capable of one hitting, but the frequency in which it happens is a lot less only because the damage of C4s was reduced, and adding said C4 on a prop weighs it down, making it harder to throw from a distance, unless it's a red explosive canister. You can get around the nerf by using red canisters because the velocity on these in particular is fast no matter what. So, all this to say, nukes are still going to be very strong and will always be strong because you have to respect it no matter the skill level of the player. A lot of engagements consist of my teammates and I trying to tiptoe around an area, avoiding nukes because it's capable of ending the fight very quickly. And as a result, heavies just get to walk up and take space for free with no real consistent solution to answer back with. There are some solutions, such as like tossing a frag at the canister, but even shooting the canister isn't really an option because the red canisters take like 7 shots to detonate. Other than that, wall hacks is still the same, Invis is still pretty much the same, like a lot of the pain points. The community outline were just not served the justice they needed. If I'm being honest, Light shouldn't have even gotten touched this patch because it's already the worst class in the game right now in terms of ranked. But I imagine the nerfs only happen because Light is very frequent in pubs where winning means nothing. So people are playing the classes easiest for getting frags and ratting, which is medium and wall, like medium with walls, and then you have light with invis, which kind of makes pubs a bad experience. The biggest pain point for me was personally wall hacks. I said that from my playtime in the beta that wall hacks should have been removed from the game where we worked entirely. It's simply not healthy for any shooter ever with for wall hacks to be in it. Wall hacks basically invalidates the entire role or playstyle of lights depending on the element of surprise and stealth. So light is basically worthless as long as walls remain the way they are. Playing your life is really difficult because you have to be on the move, rolling the dice because a player with wall hacks is hunting you down. The curiosity and risk of playing for information is no longer there, which means you can always inquire where to position yourself at all times, even mid fight. You can essentially forego some elements of important game sense with this special ability, and it's not healthy for the game at all. Even as annoying as nukes and invis can be, you can kind of play around it. Sorry. But in the case of mediums and walls, you can't really play around the player with great routing and wall hacks. If blatant cheaters isn't the thing that forces my hand in quitting this game, legalized cheats such as wall hacks certainly will. Another point of contention of mine is the state of ranked and how it's quite literally the worst rank system I have played or interacted with in any game ever. Like, I play Destiny 2, and that ranking system is better than what this game has to offer. For any of you that don't know, this ranking system does not actually match you off of your rank, it's literally just random. So there is essentially no difference between ranked and unranked tournament besides the fact that ranked has a meaningless number that goes up. And it's not like you can really lose points either. All you got to do is get past the first round, and if you get knocked out in the second round, you lose nothing. It's a competition of who can degen and no life the ranked playlist the hardest. That isn't to say that the top ranked players aren't good or great players, but if you aren't playing 15 hours a day, don't expect to climb the top 100 leaderboards or anything like that. And I don't know, I'd even argue that most of the top 500 players are kind of ass, but that's just me. I like playing ranked for the chance to match a good team because it's fun. but 90% of the matches is just my team stomping on noobs, and it's hard to get engaged. It's not the fault of these poor players that we are stomping because they are literally bronze or silvers that should not be anywhere near my rank lobbies. Ranked is so unengaging to the point where streamers and players are organizing queue snipes just for a competitive experience, which leads me to another question. Why do we not have custom games? The whole theme of this game revolves around tournaments, shoutcasting, spectators, and even sponsorships. As a semi competitive player who enjoys playing with intention and theory crafting strats and setups, being able to do all this and having an environment to apply myself is part of the entertainment factor that keeps me motivated to play a game. If ranked is just pubs with a meaningless number and there are no custom lobbies, it's hard to stay motivated to play this game intentionally when I'm just facing noobs all day long with the rare chance of facing a decent team. At that point, I might as well just only play pubs, but I only really play ranked because the experience gameplay wise is better. Pubs is literally just light spam and wall hacks, and I don't know, that's not really fun. But ranked is just wall hacks and nukes, so I guess it's really a pick your poison type of situation. Not only is the ranking system bad, but there is no custom lobbies. So, where are the custom lobbies, man? At least with the choice of customs and ranked, Embark would be able to get some pretty important context for some data. That way, they can make more informed decisions on balancing things, which leads to another tangent of mine. I was on board with their balancing and tuning philosophies of making slight adjustments to things to over time, but I think overbalance will destroy the fun factor of this game, which is why they're kind of taking it slow and slight. But now I'm not so sure anymore. And the reason for that is because I think the big pain points of the game are not treated with more seriousness than, let's say, some weapon balance pass. It's like all these issues are weighted the same and therefore are treated the same, so the gameplay after balance patches feels pretty much the same. And while that can be a good thing, this ties back to the point I brought up earlier about how the only change I can feel in game is the changes to C4 and nukes, and I guess the stun gun for light. Wall hacks got nerfed, but only slightly, so the gameplay still feels the same where I'm walking into a Scar pre-fire, or players literally just see me across the map so they know where to position. You know, they can counter my offense with little to no effort at all. While I do generally agree that they should take things slow and not swing the pendulum too far when balancing things, some pain points from the community should take priority and get hit harder, such as wall hacks and Invis. If I had it my way, walls is removed from the game entirely, but seeing as it's around to stay, I just have to, trust the devs to eventually tune like wall hacks in a creative way that allows it to stick around, but is far less obnoxious and a no-brainer pick. Same thing with frag grenades. If you don't know what lethal gadget to use, frags is arguably the best pick. 150 damage and there is no indicator, so unless you can visually see it coming, you will randomly take a fat burst of damage. All this to say, objectively speaking, this recent patch wasn't bad by any means, but it was personally a letdown for me and many others because it did not tackle the pain points hard enough to the point where we could quantify the changes and feel it in game besides the frequency of nukes. In short, the meta is pretty much the same, with the same gameplay loop revolving around wall hacks, one hits, and invis from lights. And to be honest, those things aren't fun to play against, so they gotta find some kind of solution to fix it. Word has it that we're getting custom lobbies next season, so we'll have to wait on that. But I think they should focus more on the ranked experience and actually matchmake players off of their rank so the leaderboards and fame points actually mean something. Maybe the rank system right now kind of sucks dick because they're trying to get some of the pain points in check before investing in the competitive side of things. But that's likely a copium statement considering the aforementioned balancing philosophies. At the end of the day, I'm still gonna play the game because the fun factor and novelty will last a while and I'm here for it. And I will argue that it is a great thing. The blueprint for fun is already there, which means the hardest part is arguably done. They will just have to keep their players hooked through content drops and meaningful patches to keep things semi fresh, so I hope they do so. I say this for genuine care and passion for the game itself because although I might be making content on it and streaming, it's not something that I live off of, so whether this game lasts long enough or not will not affect my lifestyle in the least. I know the same can't be said for some of the most popular streamers for the game that need it to work out or, pan out, right? Because they could be getting evicted if this game dies. So I'm sure they're signing their feedback off with passion too. But that's all I gotta say. Take it easy, and I hope to see you stop by stream and say hello later.